Choice Movie Television, today the 3rd of April in the year 2021. We continue to build to do a build-up towards the August elections. Now, my guest on the program is someone who is not new. He is one of the celebrated journalists that we have in this country, and we are looking at the topic of discussion, which is journalistic perspective to Zambia's state of governance. My guest on the program is Kasebamashila Kaseba, who is a news and political analyst. Kaseba, good evening and welcome to this special interview.
Good evening, moderator. Thank you very much.
How are you?
Very fine, and you, thanks.
Those of you that are joining us on the Movie TV decoder, yours is channel 1, and those of you that are watching us on Topstar decoder, yours is channel 104, and those of you that are joining us on Facebook, yours is Ask Movie. You'll be able to come through and drop your questions as well as your comments on the comment section, and we'll be able to read through. If it is a question, my guest on the program will be able to respond to it. My name is Kelvin Tabola, Chief for Kolu, and this is a special interview. Kaseba, a lot has happened and a lot has continued to happen. First thing first, let's start with the cyber law. It is now law. The cyber crimes and cyber law, it was passed. They passed the 3rd reading, and the president did assure the people that he's going to sign it without even looking at it. And true to his words, he went ahead and signed this document, and now it is a law. We have seen a section of some civil society organizations who have gone to the courts of law. They believe that this cyber crimes and cyber law is not sitting so well with our constitution. What do you make of, first of all, the passing of the bill itself into law?
Yeah, I think for me, the start point is that the process of making laws has had a cabinet and parliament and the president. Now, all these stages have kind of involved the president, and the president making running commentary. Now, for a president to say, I will sign without proofreading, which is the same behavior of social media, of commenting without reading. People who just go to comments and they say things that are totally out of topic. That caught me, and that is the reason I have prioritized that as a starting point, where the president runs running commentary as a president. So when you look at that process and the president running commentary as opposed to following the process and the responsibility. Now, this is the president, don't forget, who said he was going to sign the constitution with his eyes closed. And immediately he opened his eyes, he started seeing lacunas. And this is the president who said he was going to rule without a vision, or he had no vision. And immediately he came. Here is where we are, in this dirty hole. Okay? So, when you have the president making those out of 10, out of character and justifiable comments, that is a worrying sign. The other point that can be made is that the president has been wagging the power to bash the media. For example, to say we are going to solve. What are they solving? As in cyber crimes and cyber security. Firstly, to start by saying cyber crime, you are actually criminalizing cyberspace. Cyber security is their own insecurity. There has been no justification into the conception of such a law. They have not given us a ground. For example, I have, if you allow me, eventually...
Yes, I'll allow you to go to that document that you have. First of all, we've been told by those that have been supporting the cyber crime, cyber law, to say unless you've got something to hide, unless unless you are one of those that have been committing crimes using the cyberspace, then you've got everything to worry about this law. But if you know that you are clean, you're not committing crimes using the cyberspace, then you've got nothing to worry
Yeah, but I'm worried that you're going to have a person enforcing a law, security, with his eyes without reading. That is the problem.
Is it a mandate of that person who was signing, or it was the mandate of the people that were
No,
debating?
the process is that the president must read. That is what the process is. Actually, the president can throw away that. If he reads. Now, what he meant by he will not read is that, or he will not proofread. Now, mark the word, proofread. Proofread. First, he was mocking Zambians when he misread the constitution about the ministers staying. You recall?
Ministers staying in office.
Overstaying during elections. He was mocking us about reading. Now he goes forward to say he will not proofread. Now that is dangerous. Proofreading. Now if you are going to have a person who signs without proofreading, and you are going to have officers who will also enforce that law without reading, that is what should worry you. The other point is, to sneak in, is that the criminalization of cyberspace means that cyberspace, as it is a place where criminals meet. Now, to really want to be that reckless in that categorization of cyberspace, even for people that are also there, okay? We are together with the people that are criminalizing. The very president, even when he was doing that, he went online. So to really want to assume, now, the other point which we had a law that was intended for WhatsApp. Just to cut out WhatsApp, I hope you are not forgetting that. We had a law intended for just WhatsApp. We had a law intended, as we will get there, intended for NGOs. Now we have a law intended for cyberspace. Is that a problem we have? We need to have the cyber law that is going to assist us use cyber for voting. That is what we need. Not cyber as security. The usage of a smartphone is going to be a matter of national security. That is not correct. National security is the responsibility of the army, and not the responsibility of AZICTA or the bodies that are going to be formed. The other one, which a lot of you have forgotten again, is that there was an SI. There's an SI from 2011, SI 65 of 2011, on SIM registration. What did they do? They added deactivation. Now, what is interesting also is that this SI came just like towards elections. And what did they target? They targeted people phoning radio stations. That's what they did. This is the SI 65 of 2011, which they never published. I took them on. I took this matter even before LAS. They never published this SI, which has the same things that they have produced in
cyber
in the cyber crimes. So the issue of these people saying one thing or abusing people and playing a victim, they started deactivating phones. Today, the people that are endangered, it's you and I. People are losing phones. You're not protected by this SI. There's nothing like that. They will not even make any reference. So if you read the same cyber crimes and you read this, what they are doing the same thing, targeting people. This is a political thing. It is criminalization of cyberspace. That is what is being done.
You've talked about you've got a problem with someone who signs without proofreading. And my question is that why should he proofread? Because he said he believes that members of parliament did a good job.
But that's not what the Constitution says about him signing. That's not what the Constitution says.
But he said if he finds something something not in line with the aspirations of the people, the Constitution allows him to take the bill back to Parliament.
Yes, that
and
is
probably he didn't find anything
that
wrong, and that is why he went ahead and signed it.
No, I think that is where I was saying he was running commentary, which the Constitution doesn't say. That's not what the Constitution says. The Constitution is about him reading and signing. This is the argument we are having about grade 12. So you're having, one side you are having an argument on grade 12, so that people can be literate. Okay? Then on one side, a person is boasting as a president that he can do things. That's a scandal. That's impeachable. If the people that were debating were reading and researching, and the president believes he only has to sign. I've already given you examples of where we are at, where the president worked impulsively, where he says, well, we are going to the stadium, and we'll have the measure of the success of the Constitution was about him signing it with his eyes closed. And he actually even made the mistake, you recall that. Because of this same thing, that same attitude, there is no responsibility where the president said, I'm taking responsibility for the wrongs that are in there. When they started talking about lacunas, they were speaking about lacunas like they were not the ones who went to the stadium. That is the same thing that is going to happen. And I can tell you, the other one is, the president appointed the Commission of Inquiry on voting patterns, on electoral violence and voting patterns, 2016, which looked at 2006 to 2016, and the election, which is the 9th from 91, to be held this year, is supposed to be held under that. There is no any reference, as even in the conception of the cyber crimes and cyber security, when that is what the president said. When the report was submitted to the president, he said, give it to the public to read. He refused to read. Why? It indicts him as the cause of the violence and the regional or tribal voting patterns. Okay? So there is a report, and that is where my worry is. The president refused to read nor publish that. Where is it? Has the media been given? Now, that is what worries me. If you're going to have a person sign without reading, when he has so many documents, and even that same cyber security, that was in a bunch of how many bills? 22 bills.
Yes.
And we are only sloganeering on one, and that's what the issue is.
Because we are told this is the only one that the president has signed so far. If others are going to be presented to him, he's going to sign.
No, they didn't present one to him. There were 22 that were passed to him.
After passing third reading.
Yes, 22 were passed to him. It's a bunch. Okay? So what he has done is to prioritize, the same way I've told you about the SI 65 of 2011 on SIM registration, in which they illegally included deactivation and many other illegalities they have added. And that is the point I'm making, and I would want to repeat, that is the result of people who don't read, who don't publish. This was never published.
When you talk about people who don't read and who don't publish, Kasebamashila, someone may be wondering, and I know that someone who is watching is wondering, say, who are these people that Kasebamashila is referring to as people who don't read and publish?
Well, the president said he would not even proofread.
Because members of parliament have done it.
No. I think I should have quoted you there. I have the constitution on me. That is, we need to be very clear about that. And which I've said, it's a scandal.
So your argument is that the president needed to proofread it?
Correct.
Before signing it?
Correct. And I've given you the example of what happened with the constitution. And I've given you the example of he called a press conference at which he started lecturing about reading and mocking the public. And we know what happened. So two things have happened. He went and signed the constitution without reading, and suddenly when he opened his eyes, there were lacunas. He went and he told the ministers to stay. And what happened?
There was a judgment.
There was a judgment.
And he said he respected that judgment.
Yes, because,
and he called on those that stayed in office illegally to
yes, now that is where he should have also accepted that he did not read. He should have accepted that the Constitutional Court had told him to go back to night school, to go and learn to read, than to do things without reading. And that is why I'm saying he is the one who brought in the grade 12 thing. And he again mocked the people that passed the grade 12 requirement, and even deputy ministers, for passing it without reading. So how can you have a person who mocks others for not reading be the one to sign without reading?
Now that is law. What is your take?
Well, I think there are also processes to the law being enforced and actualized, and like you are telling me that the NGOs that have taken it, it's very clearly unconstitutional, and I know that once it will be put before the Constitution, before the Constitutional Court or any of the other courts. And one of the issues I know is that there are also implications of not publishing. That is very clear. And well, I know that they got away with this SI, that they didn't publish. But when you don't publish a law, I mean, look, for example, I'm telling you, did you have these people publish it? No. Did they go around? Did they consult? Did they communicate? Did they conscientize the public? No. So the issue of the bad faith is very, very clear throughout, that this is a law, in fact, not even made for them. If you listen to the president as he delivered the values and principles, there are a few things that, for example, he tinkered with. And I mean, being crooked. For example, the president read a section where he said, which is the paragraph, I can start it from paragraph 60. Patriotism also entails being devoted to and being positive about our country, Zambia. We need to portray a positive image of the country to our children and to the outside world. We must use all available platforms, including social media, to promote the image, and interest of our country. I commend all those citizens who are already doing so, particularly those who have taken the initiative to use social media to spread positive messages. We are all ambassadors of our country in our own right. Then let us blow our trumpet and promote the image of our country. I know that some social media platforms are denigrating the image of our country. Here is the deal. Whether you belong to the ruling party or opposition, you have only one country that you can proudly call yours. Whether you live in Zambia or not, you have only one God-given country. Therefore, don't flout the adopted countries as yours. God gave each individual one country, and when the right time comes, when the right time arrives, you run to that country. Now, I think it's 74 or so that I'm looking for, where the president says, if you have to criticize or insult, by all means criticize, but don't insult. I don't know if you recall that statement. Yes. Now, he says, if you have to criticize or insult government or Edgar Lungu, in the text that was posted, there is no Edgar Lungu. He puts himself there when he is adequately covered by the penal code against insulting the president. So when he mixes criticism and insult, so I am saying the president added his name there, which is not in the text and which is already covered. Then there is, he picks a quote from Martin Luther. So I'm showing you the ill intention right in the speech on values and principles and integrity and morality. He quotes Martin Luther and he paraphrases that and removes a section of the speech that should have ended, or you die together as fools. He removes the fools and he emphasizes and he repeats. Together, dying together. For him it is a matter of dying in togetherness as fools. We live together as brothers, or you die together as fools.
Let's make progress. The issue of the cyber, and there is also something that is being debated, the issue of a grade 12 certificate. You've touched about it. The Constitutional Court gave a verdict on the matter that was in court regarding, Honorable Nyirenda and Bizwayo Nkunika, and they said it is the minimum of a grade 12 certificate. And also we saw the Electoral Commission of Zambia holding a press briefing together with the Examination Council of Zambia, and it was clear. And right now, as we are speaking, there are other members of parliament and the other aspiring candidates who have been caught up in this web and they don't know what to do. Do you think with the cyber law, we are going to experience the same with what we are talking about when it comes to the grade 12 certificate of a minimum qualification?
Yeah, I think what has been, so to speak, worrying, I think we are looking at these matters also as in a media perspective, is that, well, the kind of, the stories that are coming out of this lack so much of, can I say, proper scrutiny and study of what really is happening by the media. The media is generally reporting much more than analyzing or even doing editorials and opinions and commentary. What I have seen about the grade 12, I don't know if you have followed, of people that have taken fake papers. There is not much that is happening. People have the audacity to take a fake certificate to ECZ, and ECZ gets that. Now, my worry there is, if ECZ is not coming out strong on people that have submitted fake papers.
They have told us that they're investigating. There are people that have submitted fake papers, and
yeah, but
the Electoral Commission of Zambia is investigating these issues.
I mean, what is
and probably we are going to be told that this candidate has been arrested because of presenting a fake certificate.
Correct. Now, the point of clarity and the point of being effective and proactive, that is what was needed. The other point is that ECZ, as in Examinations Council of Zambia, has kind of changed the process a bit. When you apply when you apply for a job, for example, you send your papers, it's not you to interface with ECZ. So ECZ is opening itself to corruption and bribery and leakages. It is not you to interface with ECZ as an applicant. Because that already, in its nature, for you going to verify, you are seeking to be vetted or investigated. So what has happened is that the media is following more the controversy, which I didn't think should have been, of the grade 12 requirement. As a matter of fact, what should have been well, I don't see any much difference between the two judgments. Okay? And that should not be the matter. The matter right now is the process ECZ, as in Examinations Council, has employed together with the ECZ, as in the Electoral Commission of Zambia. That is what I feel the media must also assist the public to look at what is really happening. So, the cyber security has also taken attention, like I am saying, that this has taken, what has taken attention on the grade 12, the minimum qualification. What has taken attention is not what should be taking attention. For example, one of the arguments that has been made, and which is made for the grade 12 minimum qualifications, we are already talking about it. We're talking about framing laws by people who know how to read. And you get to see that of the three arms of government, perhaps the legislature is the least qualified. In the executive, you may not go in without a grade 12. So if we are going to have an MP without grade 12, but who have difficulties with a cabinet minister without grade 12, now this is part of what has brought us here, and that is part of the argument. So in the executive, for example, a government director, would you employ a director without grade 12? What level is the MP as the equivalence of those in the executive? What level is the MP? And even those in the judiciary. In terms of money, what do MPs get as compared to judges? And what qualifications do judges have? Say if we are going to have that equivalence as in terms of the judiciary and the legislature. So those are some of the arguments that I thought we needed to preoccupy ourselves with, much more than, because this is the second round that we are having this argument. And this is the second judgment that we are having.
Yes.
And this is actually, this is also not the first time that it is coming. It came way back from the Shamwana. There was another electoral whatever commission of. That argument was almost exhausted. So what is also very important, I think as we get to qualifications of candidates, we may actually even be going to qualifications of voters.
There is also an argument from those that want to stand and just the general public that you want those that want to contest to have a minimum qualification, which is a grade 12 certificate. But we know that the president has got powers to appoint or nominate 8 members to become members of parliament. Does it mean the president also scrutinizes these people to say, before I nominate you as a member of parliament or appoint you as a member of parliament, I need to see your grade 12 certificate?
Yeah, that should be the situation, which I don't think it is. But what I'm also getting to see, and as I am getting interested in your question and your line of thought, is also that we essentially don't have complainants in this matter. We are having a debate which doesn't have complainants. I don't know if you have noticed that. The affected are not the complainants. It's the same thing. I know I may get ahead of you, but it's the same thing with the issue of prisoner voters. The prisoner voters are not the complainant in the matter, are not even the ones that are desirous of voting. It's the same thing that happened about a man pulling a Chinese on a trolley. The complainant was the public on social media.
Yes.
The man did not complain.
Because
it was the Ministry of Labor.
Because the people that were complaining were maybe, for lack of better term, were being more patriotic.
Yeah, but no, you have
their country.
You have no local standard in that matter. That's not yours. The person should have complained. You go to India and ride all those rickshaws and you come back with pictures and say, oh, look what the Indian was doing to me and so on. The point I'm making is that we need to have complainants in these. Let's have complainants and let's have clear cases, and which is what the question you're saying about nominations and other considerations and factors that go into nominations. Let's have people we can see that this person has been knocked out. He has all the other qualifications and the suitabilities except for the minimum grade 12 qualification. And what I've also seen, we have argued much more on this grade 12 minimum qualification outside of the judgment. The same thing we did with it without reading. Not proofreading, but without reading. The same we have done with the Bill 10. We are reducing matters to a checkbox of yes or no. Are you yes? Are you no? That is how we are reducing. So I know that even for me, where I've my position on the grade 12 is that we are using education to answer totally different dynamics. We are not responding to the dynamics of what the full requirements are, just like I've told you, of the arms of government, and you start doing the equivalences of the executive and the equivalence of the judiciary with the legislature.
In case you have just joined us, this is the special interview on a channel of Choice Movie Television, Saturday the 3rd of April, and my guest on the program is Kasebamashila Kaseba, who is news and political analyst, and the topic of discussion is journalistic perspective to Zambia's state of governance. You've touched the issue of prisoner or prison vote or prisoners voting. Just within the week, we received news from Priska, which is an organization that sued the Electoral Commission of Zambia and managed to win. And in that judgment, the Electoral Commission of Zambia were taught that in the future, allow prisoners to vote. And according to him, he says prisoners are worried and they are not in support of physical campaigns in prisons. And what they are calling for are televisions or radios so that they can follow the deliberations or manifestos as they are being sold to the general public. And also they are comfortable in having flyers or posters or constitution or as well as manifestos being sent to prison, and it will be up to the prison warder to take those materials to a prisoner to read and understand. Civil society organizations are not comfortable with this. They are saying there are some people in prisons who cannot read nor understand, and they need someone to explain to them. And it should be up to the prisoner warder to take the information or to give posters to these inmates. What do you make of this?
Yeah, I think now the complainant in the matter, or the party that took the matter to court, the first point is that prisoners could not have even gone to the Constitutional Court. And voting is not the foremost priority and desire of a prisoner. That is what should be the foremost thing. I think you've heard of the issue of COVID. We haven't had the proper prison coverage. We have also had the issue of hunger. I know you know that there have been restrictions on visitations when the state cannot properly address the issue of food security for you and I who are outside prison. Worse, for prisoners, there has been that problem of food security. There is very clearly adult malnutrition in prison. You know that. Prisons cannot survive without food from outside. In the last few months of COVID, there have been very tight restrictions on the delivery of food into prisons. It is the same period that we have been debating about the prison right, special right. This is a special vote that has been designed for the prisoners. Never since independence did you ever have a special vote. It is the prisoner is enjoying a special vote because it is delivered to the door. Why isn't the prisoners that should have qualified, there should have been a system. Prisoners have their own categorizations within prison. And you know the prisoners that have access to even go to markets and so on and so forth. So how do you have someone, if the law was being followed for example, those that have life death sentences, who are likely to be executed, also enjoy the right, better than you, that the ballots will be brought to them, than them being allowed, if you can't be trusted, to walk out to just buy food for yourself. How can you be trusted to vote? So the issue of prisoner rights in this country, prisoners have their rights being violated. There had been an argument about conjugal rights, which you know. It went nowhere that prisoners who are married must have their spouses visit them. Nothing happened. So we started with the the cyber crimes and cyber security, one of the issues that has been done is to criminalize. There are penalties that can take you to prison.
Yes.
Now, you have, say, me insulting you can land me in prison. Well, I'll get the right to vote. But the contradiction being that on the other hand, the president is pardoning condemned prisoners. So you are criminalizing nuisances and civil situations to decriminalize actual crimes. So to kill a person, you easily be forgiven. The president will commute your sentence. And I think there was a debate of someone who was on the death row,
yes,
being pardoned, and to vote from outside. And the people that are going to be involved, either in character assassination, character or reputational, being imprisoned. Now that is a contradiction. So a prisoner has got a special vote in that the vote and the entire process is going to be delivered unto them.
Do you think the Electoral Commission of Zambia have got the capacity to conduct prison vote?
Yes, they have the capacity. The prison vote, that's why I'm calling it a special. It's the easiest for them. Okay? It is the easiest because it is delivered to the door. Well, I think Rupia Banda went and registered as a former president. He went to a polling station to register. The president himself went to a polling station. The polling station was not delivered to him at the door of State House. Only the prisoner had that privilege. And that is vote.
Do you think this is the right time to allow prison vote? Because the judgment said in the near future. And the Electoral Commission of Zambia said future can be even 2021.
Yes. And
do you think this is the right time?
No, and I think, as we talked about qualifications, being a prisoner disqualifies you. I think that is what the electoral process is. And being a prisoner, and even the Constitution still has that. We have an MP under this same arrangement who was imprisoned. And immediately he lost his seat. So he loses his seat from being an MP. He wins the right to vote for his successor. So those are contradictions. I do not believe the prisoners qualify to vote because being in prison in itself is a disqualification. Give them their other rights. Have they been consulted? What do they want? Like I have told you that the complainant is the Priska, or the party that took the matter to court is Priska. In this country, a prisoner can't take the state to court to say, I want to vote. It's not possible. The same way that I have said, right now, the whole grade 12 situation doesn't have a complainant. There is no complainant in the grade 12. It's just a social media debate and the social media and the mainstream media debate. There is no complainant. Even in the prison situation, the people that took the matter are people like you and I. I'm not condemning the idea of solidarity. No. But what they have confirmed from what you have said and what I've read is that this thing, even on their part, is not being properly rolled out.
Let's move on. Let's talk about the economy. President Edgar Lungu last year launched the economic recovery plan, and he agreed that our economy was not doing so well. Fast forward, he went and he met with Chitimukul, and he said he believes that our economy is under sabotage. Just recently, when he was launching the Munali flyover bridge, he said it is clear that Zambians are living well. The economy is booming, looking at the number of cars that are on our roads. As a journalist, when it comes to the economy, what what do you make of the statements that the president has issued so far in the recent past? Do you believe that our economy is under sabotage, or do you believe that our economy is booming, and be looking at the number of cars that are on our roads?
Yeah, I think, well, sabotage is a very strong word. That is the first thing.
That is what he used?
Yes, that's what he used. And I'm responding as in what he used. And it's also, well, it's strong, misplaced, out of context.
To have used the word sabotage?
Correct.
But we have seen cement manufacturers like Lafarge being fined.
Correct. I think that story also has is yet to have its conclusion. And for example, for me, one of the issues is why are you dealing with 2 financial years? If the sabotage was just in the last 2 months, you are dealing with 2 financial years.
Yes.
How do you punish a person for 2 financial years? Where was the CCPC? Okay? So it also puts CCPC as not working independently. As a commission, they seem to be working under orders. And once you start to make decisions like that, so for me, let the president deal with numbers. And the president has powers, for example, to clamp on a company. If there is sabotage, that is a crime. So you cannot make a statement about a crime and look at the occasion. The president makes such a very serious economic statement, as you are saying, and which is also the situation, if you recall, when the president talked about the issue of the constitution and the issue of the state of emergency, by the way, which was never lifted. And when he was telling the IMF to go away. Serious occasion, serious topic, the same thing that you say, you declare, you launch a recovery program, and which includes 2020, and you immediately go on holiday for the duration that is remaining in the year 2020. You go to Mfue and put your feet up to rest, to recover, as in terms of body recovery, and not economic recovery. Now, that period of the year is a holiday period. You know that. The last 2, 3, the December weeks. So that is not true. That there is. Well, you can tell me that there is a program in place for economic recovery.
Yes, it was launched last year by the president.
Yes, I agree. It was launched.
Yes.
Yes, it was launched, and it included, I've said it, 2020, on which the president went on holiday after launching it, and the country and the world was also on holiday. So the other point is that we also had other programs. Don't forget again, this same president had another recovery programs. Okay? The same way that you, the media, were told that Kakoma Kanganja would have his contract renewed subject to building public confidence.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have a midterm review right now? What is the situation? How is Kakoma Kanganja doing? That period will coincide with the elections. So you don't have a midterm review of 3 months to say from where. So the point I'm using is that when you tell me about a recovery, do you have a program right now to do a review to say, oh, this is 2020 to 20 what?
Maybe we cannot have a program, but the president said it was evidence. Looking at the number of cars that are on our roads and traffic, then he concluded to say the Zambian economy is doing fine and Zambians are living well.
Yeah, I think
because if the economy was not doing fine, if Zambians were not living so well, they couldn't have been driving. But the fact that they are driving on our roads, it clearly shows that the economy is booming.
I think the other point, which for me sometimes you get to see the president as playing with people's minds. I think one of the issues that the media, for example, has not properly analyzed is that the president has launched or is about to launch, is it 4 bridges, and 3 of which.
Yes, 3 have been launched so far.
Yes.
We are remaining with one, which is the Long Acres one.
Yes. But if you get to see, you notice also that of the 4 bridges, 3 of which are on the president's route to the airport. I don't know if you have noticed that. So the president is living in his own world. 3 bridges. Tell me I am wrong. The Long Acres one, the Arcades one, and the
Munali one.
And the Munali one. 3 of 4 bridges to be launched are on the president's route to the airport. Okay? That is one point. The next point is that the media has not tended to pay attention. What are the Indians doing in these launches? Where has the money come from? Who is funding that? The media is not asking that question. So you cannot say the economy has improved based on 3 or 4 bridges that you yourself you use, and that has the Indian presence there.
When you say you yourself use, it is not just the president using.
No. But the point is, that factor is not brought out and is not acknowledged.
Okay.
That is the point. And that is why I'm saying the president is living in his own world. Those are the flyover bridges as he is going to fly out of the country. And we had the debate of the Gulf Stream. In a year, when the president didn't need to move, he has only moved I think once, in almost 2 years of having a Gulf Stream. We are arguing about the cost of the Gulf Stream and so on and so forth. And also do the comparative analysis of how much these bridges are costing us and how much the plane is costing us or costed the taxpayers. So the issue of measuring the economy on the smoothness of roads in one place, in one city, that is not the way an economy is measured. You know that. Go back to, for example, JCTR. The basic needs,
yes,
as in you look at the cost of living, the cost of business, the cost of fuel, even electricity, like someone was saying, as in energy, someone was saying, right now ZESCO can do anything as long as they continue denying that there is no more load shedding. I've been to places where the power goes, and it's been like that. Like there's no timetable even when there was load shedding, they were not following the timetable. Now, the argument is that there is no more load shedding. It is only either interruption or outages. But why shouldn't there also be no load shedding and no outages and no interruptions? Is it you who is interrupting the power? So why should there be an excuse? So that is what you use to measure the economy. The cost of electricity, the cost of business, okay? How people, the quality of service and the quality of life. Even when we are going to talk about, for example, cyber, right now we should have been talking about bundles getting cheaper. And the system, I think there have been some expansions for both, is it Airtel and MTN?
Yes.
But there was no admission that these things are expensive and they are clogged and they are slow. That admission is not made. What is being prioritized, right now is crimes and security in cyberspace, not the penetration of internet to the rural areas, or ECZ using that to assist, for example, in the transmission of results. So that is where we should have been, as to show that people are enjoying. Look, the issue of the economy improving is not for the leaders. It is for the common man on the street. affording maybe 3 square meals. The issue of security as in terms of housing. Right now, if you look at media houses, the situation is bad. It doesn't feel like this is a political year that you are going to really... Look, the prisoners are the ones that are saying, go to TV, do these things through the media, go virtual... Well, I think you noticed, for example, that Zoom and all these other platforms have benefited out of COVID. What has the Zambian media benefited? We are speaking right now on the verge of the anniversary of the closure of Prime TV. That is what we have gotten out of the COVID situation. The media, there was a report, I think by, is it a press, the Press Freedom Institute. There was a report that the Zambian media, the information economy, has suffered with the COVID situation. The way the politics is, I can assure you that the other elections, before these, the PF elections, the other elections meant the media was going to benefit through adverts and announcements and so on and so forth. It is peak time for the media, which it is not. You can correct me, maybe I'm behind, no, but I'm very, very sure there is nothing that the media is benefiting. There is hunger in the media. And that has come out, whether it's in even the state of the media. The issue of even cadres going and raiding, which does not get any presidential condemnation and reaction the same way you are doing with the cyber, that the president is going to say, oh, give them business, don't give them headaches, don't raid them. You are having a situation where the media has to sign a ceasefire or a protection agreement with the police, when the Constitution in Article 20 guarantees you protection, including protection from such laws as cyber security, cyber crimes and security. So the way the economy is, there are a few things you can use. The quality of life of people, the cost of energy, for example, or which industries have started. Nothing.
Mr. Mashila, I know that time is running out. I know that we've got a lot to discuss, but time cannot just allow. We are in an election year, and it being an election year, we've seen journalists being attacked left, right, and center. Just part of last year and this year, we have seen cadres invading radio stations and interrupting radio programs, paid for that matter. You've talked about there is hunger. You've said there is hunger in the media. A paid-for program, cadres interrupt it, and people hack each other, people beat up each other. Now that we're in an election year, President Edgar Lungu assured the diplomats that this year's elections are going to be free and fair. With what is happening so far and with what has happened so far in terms of the journalists being attacked, media stations being invaded, are you comfortable that this year, 2021, the media houses as well as journalists are going to be protected? If not, what is it that needs to be done in order for the media as well as journalists to be protected?
Yeah, I think I have carried this is the Electoral Code of Conduct. And the President made the reference to the Electoral Code of Conduct. I think in his address, I think it should be during the values and principles. And also, I think he met a group of journalists. Now, what is happening right now is that the responsibility, you are the ones who are being regarded as duty bearers. The government is enjoying the rights that the media should enjoy. So if the president is going to guarantee anybody freedom outside of the Constitution, the president is not referring to the Constitution. The police, the role of the police, even under there, the role of the police is not to police elections. So the elections have been reduced to police as in police, as opposed to policy. What we need is to have politics of policies as opposed to police. So, in a normal country, it's the law that protects you. I cannot guarantee you protection as a citizen. And by the way, these are the same people that have stopped others from exercising self-defense. They don't give you the police protection, and they don't allow you self-defense. So, if they are going to assure me of protection, like I'm just from talking about the hunger, I know I'm crudely putting it, but it's closer to the reality. Why don't we talk about social protection, even for the journalists? The president was talking about monies and handouts and bribes and so on. Why are those happening? Protect the journalists, pay them well, give them ads. A media house depends on ads. So if you pay a journalist or a media house well, that is a way to protect journalists from bribes and intimidation, which is all listed up there in the Code of Conduct. An election must be free of intimidation, which is also in the Constitution, Article 45. Of the characteristics of elections, I've never heard the president quote that constitutional article, that Article so. Even to say Article 20 guarantees you a freedom of expression. I've never heard him say that. You must be protected and guaranteed by the Constitution.
With what is happening and what is coming from the president, do you feel journalists will be protected this year?
No, I don't think so.
Media houses, are they going to be protected?
No, I don't think so.
What is it that needs to be done then? If you're not being protected, if you're not going to be protected, what should we do?
Well, the lack of protection, the same way that the media bashing using legislation is starting with the president. He has used legislation to respond. Right now, the issue is, the target is social media. But it always lands on mainstream media. So that is strategic, is systematic, it is planned, it is organized. The removing of the cover of protection is not an accident. So when even a person guarantees you protection and doesn't give you the protection, it's not that it is a lapse, it is an omission. No, it is deliberate. Let's make it very. Do you recall? I think just this station, is it 2011? One of the politicians assaulted journalists from Muvi TV. What happened? Cadres in Lusaka West assaulted journalists from Muvi TV. What happened? Then what happened when the journalists and the media workers from here were assaulted when the Muvi TV was closed? Nothing happened. Muvi TV and the Combon journalists were assaulted. Under this arrangement, the Post journalists were assaulted by the state. If I need to emphasize that, they were assaulted by the state. Nothing happened.
Maybe this time around something will be done.
Well,
the past won't repeat itself.
Well, what is? I mean, this the
with the assurance
no,
that
the past is already
president.
repeating itself, and what may be done is perhaps the more beating, the assault will get more. That is what is likely. Now, the other point that you see, the way terrorism works. Terrorism is you can't beat everyone. You don't kill everyone. You use, for example, the example of Prime TV. You close Prime TV. The rest will fall in place. They will exercise self-censorship. And that is what has been happening. There has been an atmosphere of feardom. They don't raid all the media houses. They raid only a few. So that when you go to a media house, you need to watch yourself, to watch your back. The same way that I saw a lot of people on social media asking themselves, me, I just post these social things, and as Agon uncle or Agon auntie, I'm just resolving people's marital situations. How do I stand in terms of... Now, when you start to question yourself, that is what is happening to journalists. That journalists right now are questioning themselves. The election year should have, up to presidential debates, we need to have proper interviews. This is a president who is coming without a press conference. You have to say, you have to celebrate, you have to look backwards to say, when did the president ever address a press conference? Even to sign this, did the president address the media? No. So this is not a president who is media friendly. This is not a president. How many times did you have the president appear here or visit media houses to grant interviews as a humble president who is down to earth, who is people? How many media houses have you seen the president go there? So I've told you, one, a presidential debate, for example, to have these people fight with ideas and shake hands, that will diffuse the political tension. The president appearing, say, with you and sitting here and answering questions and not issuing statements. So we don't have press conferences, we don't have interviews, we don't have profiles. What have we remained with? So it is strategic rallies. And where the president is going to say, I'll close my eyes, where does he say that? It is addressing cadres. So the issue of whipping up emotions is calculated. Let's have debates. That's a challenge. Let's have interviews. And let's have press conferences. Let the president take questions. I think there's something on social media. I think where Kaunda was being interviewed by about 5 journalists. Where, it wasn't enough to just have one journalist interview him. 5. And it doesn't look fair. But that shows you something. Now, I'm trying to tell you, we are coming from, and that was called a dictatorship. And yet, this is a person who could avail himself to the media for interviews and for press conferences. I know you have heard, you may have heard of a stupid idiot, sit down. That is not the only thing. The fact that the president can avail himself, it also tells you something about, this president has had 2 press aides. And this one only managed 1. And I think we discussed 1 here. I came to do a review. Only 1 press conference in how many years? So if you are going to have countable press conferences on one hand, that is not a president who means well for the media. That is not a president who is there.
Are you scared for the media?
Yes, I am scared. I think speaking at Easter, and I've been given these categories, that there are 3 categories. There are denialists, as with Peter denying Jesus, and there are traitors, as in Judas betraying Jesus, and then there are doubters, as in Thomas doubting Jesus. And most of all, I think the main character of the story, being Jesus as a savior, is Mr. Lungu saving, betraying, doubting, or is it denying? So for me, I don't see him saving the media. As we speak right now at Easter, that, well, it's not possible. There has not been dialogue, for example. So there's not going to be a debate. There's not going to be a press conference. And there's not going to be an interview. And there are not going to be profiles. So as you give me the media perspective, is that is what the media should have been doing. Interviews, press conferences, debates, and all these other forms of media discourse and interaction where the media takes charge. Even this situation of journalists being called to people's homes. No, that is not correct. Call them here and put them under pressure. Put the lights on them. Let the media take charge of the political process as opposed to politicians using cadres taking charge of the media.
Kasebamashila Kaseba, thank you so much for making an appearance on the special interview on Muvi TV this Easter.
Thank you very much.
Hope to see you soon.
I appreciate it.
And let's continue to hold hands and pray for the media. We are in an election year and it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, I think, well, let me not say anything. It's more to the law. I think let's look up to the law.
This has been the special interview on a channel of choice, the 3rd of April 2021. And I've been talking to Kasebamashila Kaseba, who is news and political analyst on the subject matter, journalistic perspective to Zambia's state of governance. On behalf of Mavuto Piri, the producer and the director of the program, my name is Kelvin Tabola Chifokola. Until next time, good night.
Tusakushinda mukulwisha chikola kya coronavirus. Pano pakuba bino twafuainwa kulondera bintu byonse byatanchikwa mukwivimbira.
Byomwafuainwa kuba pakikola kya coronavirus. Ovai kumaboko pakimye pakimye na mema atoka na mulola pamasekendi 20.
Vweta ipakanwa ne pamyona kimye kyonse kyomubena kwenda na tubisapiterwa kubamba tumatishu. Inge kyakuba mubena kuchamuna na ngwa kukopora munayi kubamba muavwe